welcome back to my channel. It has been a hot minute, and by a minute I mean a week, because it's been a week. Start off with the cringe at maximum capacity. Season 3, episode 3 was released today. First, let's talk about the most important thing that happened in this episode, which was the villains. The villains are on the attack. We got to see that 10 villains are attacking the students of UA, both Class 1A and Class 1B. They're at their little training camp thing trying to scare each other, and they're about to get scared for real when the whole League of Villains comes and runs up on them. Speaking of Class 1B, we got to see a little bit of them at the beginning of the episode and obviously at the end of the episode when the villains came in. It's so funny to see them being all jealous of 1A because obviously 1A is the superior class. Okay, so back to the beginning of the episode. We got to see Class 1A working on improving their quirks using different methods, such as Bakugo's little hands in the thing and the explosions going up in the air. That was pretty cool. We also got to see Todoroki use both of his quirks to like combat each other, which was super dope because that means he's gonna get used to using both quirks now that he's finally accepted the fact that the quirk is his own and not his father's. Deku's quirk improvement method wasn't as cool. I mean, he was just kind of punching the air and like stretching out his muscles and then using his smash and missing the target. Speaking of the target, Deku's target was one of the other 4 pussycats, so we did not get to see in last week's episode. We got to see all 4 of them. After they were done working on their quirks for the day, we saw them making dinner together. While they were eating, Deku noticed that Koda was not going to be eating with them, so he decided to track his footsteps like any normal person would do and bring him a plate of curry, in which they had a bit of a developing moment where Deku was talking to Koda a little bit about how Koda doesn't like not only heroes, but he doesn't like villains as well. He doesn't like any people with quirks, and he thinks that they're just using them to show off. So Deku decided to tell him his own story, but he said that it was the story of his friend when it was actually him. But obviously that didn't have any effect because Koda doesn't really know Deku, so his words are kind of empty to him. Which is what Deku and Todoroki were talking about. Actions need to accompany what you say. So it's not gonna affect Koda because Koda doesn't know Deku. Deku's a stranger to him. But Deku still has this pull and connection to him. He still wants to get closer to Koda and help the boy out. The reason why Todoroki approached him at all was because he overheard Deku asking if All Might was going to be at the training camp, which he is not, because they were trying to avoid villains attacking. And that didn't even work out because the entire league still came up to him. The last thing they had on their list for the day was to do this test of courage, which is when the villains came and attacked. But basically what they had to do was walk through this path where Class B had set themselves up around the path to try and scare Class A, and then they were gonna like switch places and do it that other way around. We got to see Todoroki and Bakugo get jump scared, which was hecka funny because all they said was, oh. Huh? So that's the point in which the villains decided to attack them when they were doing that little bit. So they were split up all in pairs, at least Class A was. And so next week the villains are gonna like attack them, but they're all gonna be in like pairs. Except for Deku. Deku's the only person who does not have a partner, but he knows that Koda probably went to his little secret hiding space. He has made it his personal mission to go and find Koda and make sure he's safe, but at the very end of the episode, we saw Koda in his hideout and then somebody moved in front of the shot, so obviously Koda is not safe. So that's going to be Deku's main objective. That's really what happened this episode, was another build-up episode to the villains coming in, which they did. It's important to remember 5 of the students in Class A are not on the main path doing the test of courage because they failed their exam. They had to do makeup classes, which means Aizawa also isn't with the other students because Aizawa is in the other building doing the makeup tests and makeup classes with the other students who failed. So that's really all that happened in this episode. I'm excited for next week's episode. We're going to see fights. We're going to see fights, we're going to see teamwork, we're going to see Deku trying to save a child and hopefully put his actions where his words were.
Afro time.
Thank you for watching this week's video on this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked the episode. It was a good episode. It was still a little bit more build up, but we got to see them use their quirks and we got to see actual villains popping in, using some poison to try and poison. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I make videos like this once a week. Okay, well, I gotta Zane.
Like you gotta say